Had some breaking news last night, and that is Judge Milton Tingling. Yes, his name is Milton Tingling. Shot down the ban of sodas over 16 ounces in New York City. Now, so it was going to go into effect today. Of course, it's not going to because the judge said that it was capricious and arbitrary and it didn't apply to all restaurants equally. Here's the thing with this, what is now called soda ban. As soon as it was called soda ban, it was kind of doomed because A, it's not banning soda. It's banning giant buckets of soda, where you can get those giant buckets of soda just in smaller containers. The other thing that I think is really weird is that everyone keeps on talking about how this, the big gulp is back, the big gulp is in peril. Well, the big gulp actually wasn't ever on an issue because 7-Eleven wasn't covered under this ban. So 7-Eleven could still serve you a big bathtub full of Mountain Dew in the city of New York, as even if the judge had not ruled against it. So there were some kind of weird things. Milk products were, if it had 50% more, or more milk in it, it didn't. You could get more than 16 ounces of it, but a Frappuccino has 60% ice, and that has a lot of calories. So there was some weird things about it. But the problem with this bill was not that it has weird things in it. The problem is that we have an obesity epidemic, and this is what Bloomberg, when he gave his press conference yesterday, can we play that clip, what he said?
But as far as we've come, there is one public health crisis that has grown worse and worse over the years, and that is obesity. Obesity is a leading cause of diabetes, heart disease, and other deadly killers. We've tackled it by promoting exercise and healthy eating and by supporting green markets and encouraging bodegas to carry fresh fruits and vegetables. But the fact is, as we all know, that is not enough. If we are serious about fighting obesity, we have to be honest about what causes it, and we have to have the courage to tackle it head on. 70,000 people will die of obesity in America this year. 5,000 people in New York City will die of obesity. Now, the best science tells us that sugary drinks are a leading cause of obesity. Some people say, just talk about the problem, raise awareness, and hope that results in change. But it's not enough to talk, and it's not enough to hope. We have a responsibility as human beings to do something, to save each other, to save the lives of ourselves, our families, our friends, and all of the rest of the people that live on God's planet.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Doing nothing has gotten us nowhere. That 5,000 people, 5,000 New Yorkers each year die of obesity-related deaths. The thing that I find most disingenuous about the obesity epidemic and the restaurant industry's response to this and the food industry's response to this is basically that if we just exercise more, if people just got off the couch and there were sidewalks, if we went out and we actually were more active, then we would not have to deal with this. The fact of the matter is, if you drink a soda that's 800 calories, it takes 8 miles of running to get to work off those calories. I think that this soda ban actually addresses the real problem when it comes to obesity. And when it comes to public health hazards, the whole idea is harm reduction, right? A very pragmatic approach, and I think that this had it. Now, there's been a visceral reaction, and when this first passed, New Yorkers were 50-50, 50% for the ban, 50% against. But there was a real visceral reaction for the people opposed to it that it was about freedom, right? So, like, they're telling me that I can't have this, so therefore I want it more, or that if you say this is probably bad for you, somehow that makes you Stalin. And that, I think, is ridiculous. There's this kind of mythology out there in America where people want to think that they're homesteaders when they're really just consumers, and in this case, over-consumers. But what I like about this, and particularly because it's happening in New York, and I wrote a column about this back when this was first proposed. The Board of Health, and this is also what Judge Tingling There's a Mrs. Tingling out there. I hope there's a Mrs. Tingling Jr. Out there, Judge Milton Tingling. Also, what he said is that the Board of Health doesn't have the authority to do this, that it really needed to go through the City Council. Well, the Board of Health in New York, this is the example that I used. In 1899, this is true, there was, for some strange and ridiculous reason, the most popular way, or a very popular way, of committing suicide was downing carbolic acid. And it was this kind of like bizarre trend that happened in Lower Manhattan, where people would go into the drugstore for a dime. They could get enough carbolic acid, which is like paint thinner, to kill a handful of people. They would go to the bars or whoever they were mad at, and they would take these shots of carbolic acid, and it was this horrible, disgusting, freaky death. And there was 238 suicides in New York City in 1899. And it was widely available, this carbolic acid. So the Department of Health, the same one that banned 16-ounce sodas, went and decided that what they could do for harm reduction purposes is just make carbolic acid not available unless you had a doctor's note. So, of course, there was no outcry that people were less free. No one was freaking out about it. Somehow this was the nanny state. But what happened was, in 1900, the following year, there were fewer than a handful, according to reports, of suicides by carbolic acid. So the whole idea that Bloomberg uses the analogy of lead paint, which the free market would all have us, having lead paint, because then it would be up to, us to decide whether or not we wanted to live somewhere with lead paint. But no, it's the government who has made that less frequent in our lives. So the idea that all we have to do is just do nothing, and then everybody's going to do what's best for them, is not true. Because, well, we live on an island, but you are not an island. And your obesity and your health actually impacts the rest of us. It leads to higher rates with our insurance companies. And if you go to the ER instead of having insurance, that's a whole other issue. But I think this is not a cure-all by any stretch of the imagination. But I think that it is public policy, and I know, Matt, you disagree with me, but I think this is public policy, which, that's okay. You can be wrong. It's fine. I'm sure you're a nice person in theory, but this is not going to cure all. It's not going to make us all thinner. It's not going to make us all happy and healthy and wonderful. But I do think that it's akin to the smoking ban, which everyone complained about when it first happened. But now I quit smoking because of a smoking ban, and now I'm more than happy. I think we should use drones on smoke. Like, let's not have them anywhere. Like, let's just do this.